He wants to score goals. And I think we discussed before that he's now so close to Wayne Rooney's international record. Rooney's got 53 goals. Kane's got 51. There's no way he's missing a game. Certainly in the group stage, the group stage is when he can get some goals, So he'll play. The big issue for England, if he does get injured and he misses the odd game, then that is when England really have a problem, because Callum Wilson is his backup now. Good player, but not Harry Kane. And Marcus Rashford is a different sort of player. So what happens with England without Kane is a question that Englishmen don't want to ask.
Kane's an interesting one for me because we've been talking about him over the last couple days, and you look at the statistics, and a lot of them from the first game aren't great for Harry Kane. Not a lot of touches, not a lot of shots. Okay, but he does have the 2 assists. Like, how does the English press, how are people feeling he played, and what, his form kind of coming into the tournament?
Yeah, I don't think there's any concerns over Kane.
Really?
I think, 2 assists, but he's also, he leads the line well. He holds the ball up, he allows the attacking players to get forward. So, and I think it's actually good sometimes when Kane doesn't score, because there is the other flip side is England's too reliant on Kane. So if he doesn't score, and 6 goals against Iran, no matter what the opposition is, Iran are ranked 20th in the world, so 6 goals without Kane scoring is a really good result for England and for Southgate, because it shows that they don't need Kane to score the goals to win.
Okay, the 6 games leading up to the World Cup, 0 wins, and they only scored in 2 of those games.
Yeah.
These 6 goals versus Iran, erase that, no more doubts as far as the front line?
No, I won't say it erases the doubts, but I think those games, certainly I think 3 or 4 came at the end of a really long season. I think England just didn't want to be there. The Nations League games at the end of last season were a real struggle for a lot of players. And I think, the Southgate situation is that it was Germany, it was Italy, it was Hungary. It was good opposition, and England looked flat. But I think a World Cup changes everything. And we've seen England in tournaments before, other teams in tournaments. If you have a quiet build-up or a bad build-up, it means nothing once it starts. It's sometimes better to go in with a little less hype, certainly with England, because we know that England and hype is like a bad combination, because it comes every time.
Harry Maguire.
Yeah.
What do we make of this player? Because you see him playing for Manchester United. I mean, there's so much negativity around him. Obviously, he seems to be a different player in the England shirt. When he goes down the other day, I think there were some American fans who were saying, oh no, I hope he's healthy for the game against the United States. Is he really a critical part to this defense? Or if it's Eric Dyer instead of him, are England just fine?
Southgate likes Harry Maguire, and he's done a good job for England in the past, and I think we do know his limitations. He's not very quick, he's not very mobile, but I think we have to be honest, international football is not as strong as Premier League or Champions League football, so the opposition he's facing, certainly Iran, the US as well, are not at the same calibre as the teams he's facing in the Premier League and Champions League. So there's no Mo Salah, there's no Erling Haaland, there's no consistent threat. It's if Maguire gets turned and run at, and that is the question that England have got to deal with.
What is it that Southgate sees in Maguire then?
He rewards players who've served him well. And if they've served him well, I think Jordan Pickford is another one, the goalkeeper. With Everton, he is prone to make a mistake, but he's not made a mistake for England, so Southgate will stick with him. Same with Maguire. He brings leadership. He's got a good partnership with Stones. But my concern with England is, as this tournament advances, if you play France, Kylian Mbappe is running at them, but then if he's running at any defender,
right, it's the concern for any team in this tournament with them.
A good striker with movement and a team that can transition quickly and attack on the counter-attack, that's when Maguire has problems.
You say, he likes players who have served him well. This is with the U.S. team, right? Greg Berhalter very much has his guys. Some of those guys that make the fan base say, how is this guy on the squad? Who are the players either in the England squad, in the England 11, that are really kind of identified as Southgate guys?
Well, Raheem Sterling. I think Raheem Sterling was lucky to start this tournament because he's not had a great season at Chelsea, but he scored against Iran. But I think Sterling is one of those players that Southgate will stick by because he does well for England. Maguire's another one. He likes Kyle Walker and Trippier. He's not so keen on Trent Alexander-Arnold, as we've seen. The goalkeeper Pickford. There are a lot of players in that squad who Southgate will stick with. Kane, obviously, but he delivers. But there are 1 or 2 that, maybe question marks.
Are we looking at the same lineup as versus Iran, or you think he'll change maybe system, formation, player, personnel?
I don't think he'll change. I don't think he has to change. I think a winning game, a winning start, I think it'd be, would he drop Bukayo Saka to bring Phil Foden in? I mean, it's a great swap, but Bukayo Saka did really well.
Yeah.
You look around the team, what else? Declan Rice and Jude Bellingham, great partnership midfield. You don't change that. At the back, do you bring in Alexander-Arnold maybe to add more of an attacking threat down the right? Maybe, maybe not. It doesn't really have to change. The one question, like I said before, is Kane. Does he risk Kane and risk an injury that might put him out of the tournament? But you can't think that way. You've got to win the game in front of you because England aren't through yet. They're beating the weakest team in the group, that's all.
Let me ask you a question. As a forward, I played as a forward. Sometimes there was no way I was letting the coach take me out.
Yeah.
Is Harry Kane the one making that decision?
I wouldn't say he's making that decision, but I think Harry Kane is now that status in the squad where if Harry Kane wants to play, he plays. Gareth Southgate is unlikely to say to Harry Kane, I'm resting you today, because I don't think this... If there's a situation where Kane would agree with it, I don't think he does, but England haven't qualified yet. They're not in a situation where this is a dead game.
Right.
If England lose tomorrow, and they play Wales in the last game, and if England lose and Harry Kane has been rested, wow. I mean, that is a big, big call for Gareth Southgate to make, knowing what the ramifications could be.
There's another player that for me jumped off the screen in that 6-2 against Iran. It's Jude Bellingham. A lot of people in our country watch the Premier League. Not as many watch the Bundesliga. This kid's phenomenal, and he's really kind of the key difference, right, from 2018 and the last Euros. Yeah. As far as kind of how the team has evolved.
Yeah. And he's 19 years old. I mean, he will be the player that everybody wants next summer. He's the player that the whole world. He's next summer's Erling Haaland. And Borussia Dortmund have got a great scouting network. They get these players and sell them on, but Man United wants him, Man City want him, Chelsea wants him, Real Madrid wants him, and you can see why. He's box to box, he scores goals, he's a leader. I mean, at 19 years old to be that sort of player, that I don't like doing comparisons from the past, but he's got Steven Gerrard in there. He's got Brian Robson in there. This real leadership guy. He's got a bit of Roy Keane. He is the full package.
Do you see a bidding war for him?
Oh, absolutely, because he doesn't have a clause in his contract at Dortmund, so there's no situation like Haaland went for £50 million because Bellingham is what his valuation will be. Now, Real Madrid, Man City, Man United, Chelsea, all those clubs have got big money. So I think clubs like Liverpool really want him, but can Liverpool now keep pace with those clubs? Because, FSG, the owners, want to move the club on. Are they prepared to put in a massive bid for Bellingham? It might come down to the clubs with the most money rather than the clubs with the best project.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.